Can't believe what we achieved in the last episode of Building with KC. We didn't just build a market stall, we built 8 more, 8 more, and 8 more. In fact, as we leave the main gatehouse and travel forwards, you can see that we didn't just build those markets, we built an entire market square. I truly think this is one of the best builds that I personally have ever done in Minecraft. I love it so much. But we've built up so many things so far in Building with KC, and yet the world still feels so very empty. And today, I want to tackle that. So I'm going to turn my attention back to where it all began, because I have an incredibly awesome project I want to try today. So I want to focus today's episode mainly on developing the lore of our kingdom and adding in builds to accommodate that. So if that's something you think you're going to enjoy, then do me a favor, leave the video a like, hit subscribe, and without any further ado, let's jump into the episode. While I'm eager to get started, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to everybody who has watched this series. I have spent so long building in this world, and to see people actually watching the series and it being one of the best series I've put out on my channel, it's so good to see that finally working out and my channel finally achieving something. But it's not just me that achieves it, it's also everybody who watches the videos. So thank you very much for watching the videos, I really do mean it. And moving forward, channel memberships are a thing on my channel, so if you want to become a member, you can. And I'm going to be giving members a house in the city dedicated to them. You get a little plaque, get a bit of furniture, nice little accommodation. But yeah, that's the plan. So that's going to be enough for the thank yous and the self-promotion. Let's get into the build. So I absolutely love walking through here. I find it just to be so immersive. But there are things like these cliffs and these cliff faces up here that are breaking the immersion for me. But I don't want to target that just yet. I actually want to focus on this little bit of patch of land right here. I didn't notice this, but you can just see the market square pairing over there. I love it, love it. So one of the blocks that I want to build with is called shimmering rock and shimmering planks. I love this. Look, it just changes its hue. I really want this block, and that's what I want to get to doing in this bit here, because this is actually part of Britannia, and to get this you have to go through this Bifrost block, which is with this rod. It's a lot of work. So if we head across the bridge and into my buddy's kingdom, past the Geldarian guards, down a side street, we get to this little thing here. That's got a pumpkin on it. I've never noticed that before. That must be a Halloween thing. But this is a mana pool, and these are endo flames, and this is I can't remember what this is called, a mana spreader. And basically you throw charcoal on these, it puts mana into there, that puts mana into there. We use this mana to then make blocks from the system, and we progress through. But this is the start of Britannia, and those shimmering blocks I showed you, well, they're part of Britannia too. So over here, I want to do the biggest tree I've ever done. And what I want is it to have 4 branches coming out each side, and each branch is going to have one of those mana spreaders on it, or rather a dropper on it that's going to drop charcoal onto a bunch of ender flames. It's then going to shoot the mana into the mana spreader, that's going to shoot it into the mana pole, and then at least we've got a significant amount of mana. And we can use this mana tablet right here to store all of the mana for when we do get into shimmering rock, but at least we have a way to produce mana. I've got some work done on the tree. We're inside it. Yes, we are, but I want to take you outside of it a moment. We'll go over here. You can see we've got all of the branches. We've got the droppers. The droppers are set to timers. They'll drop some charcoal. We'll have ender flames, but we haven't got them yet. That's a future problem. But right now, the tree is the tree. You can see it's got loads and loads of branches, and I started building this tree, and I wanted to do 2 things with this tree. One, I wanted a huge, majestic tree, but I didn't want it right here. I didn't want this tree to draw attention away from the gatehouse or any of the other things that we're going to do. So I thought, well, what can I do about that? And I said, Self, what can we do about that? And Self says, I don't know what we can do about that. And so I built this tree instead. No, so the idea is that this tree has mystical properties. The wood of this tree has those magical properties about it. And long ago, there was a family who used to harvest this tree and send its wood off to various places around the nation. So bit by bit, this tree has been whittled down from top to bottom, and this is what's left. Now there's only going to be 1 member of this family remaining, and I'm actually going to put him over here in like a little campsite. I think it's going to be really cool. But I need to get some leaves on this tree. But I can't do that because the trees aren't growing just yet. And these are from Thaumcraft, so I can't use bone meal on them. And I don't have the hoe of growth, and I don't have a lamp of growth. So I'm just sat here being a tree whisperer. And after all that time waiting for those trees to grow, I didn't like the original leaves. So I've decided that these dark leaves are pretty darn good and are exactly what I'm looking for. So this is the tree with the leaves put on. The only thing we've got left to do now is add in the endo flames and the mana pool, and then all the other decorations that I want to add around here. But I just want to go through the lore of this tree a little bit. If we come from the outside, it might look a little bit weird, and that's because it gets thinner as it goes upwards. Whereas traditionally, a lot of trees, they get fatter as they grow upwards as the new branches overarch the older branches. But in this case, we've got this that was originally a temple. In the lore, this was a temple that priests owned. They came here, they cleaned up the swamp, but then we poisoned it again with the sludge factory as we transitioned this. But there was mages here. Then there was a family who originally lived in this keep. The second keep, that's the gatehouse on the other side of the town, there was another family. And the idea is, these families, these priests, once upon a time, harnessed the power of this tree. This is a magically enchanted tree. It's got magical properties. So they would have started picking bits from the top. That way they could ensure it kept on growing, and they could have all the power they needed from the wood. And that's why it's skinnier at the top, because it's only just starting to re-sprout since we've moved in. We've been restoring it. Well, we haven't. The guy who lives in this tent has, and I'm going to detail that lore out more in a lore episode. But I want to show you something that I've done that I think is really cool. This is a birch biome. I'm building my base pretty much on a birch biome, so it's all symmetrical and similar. But if we go over here, you can see that I've added in this. This is a swamp biome. And we've got this biome wand. I've showed this before. You just sort of like right click and it adds the biome. And I've just been adding this under the sort of big branches. And what it's doing is it's creating this sort of like shadowy effect of the tree. When we go back, you can see, look, it's like the tree is casting a shadow. And it's an idea that came to me, and I think it's so creative. I've never thought of doing it like this before. But you can see from here, it does look like the tree is casting the shadow. We've got pieces broken up. I need to do it a little bit better. But yeah, I'm going to finish that off. The shading is in place. I really do like it. It looks pretty cool. But my next task is to start getting the endo flames in and the mana pool. Now the mana pool requires living rock, which I think requires a pure daisy if I remember. We just pop this around it, wait a little bit of time, and it changes. That works perfectly, so we should be able to craft up the mana pool. And we pop that in the center. The next thing we need is the wand of the forest, which is this living wood twig, which I think is made by very similar to the stone. We take the pure daisy and we just stick oak wood around it, I think. We'll find out. That worked too. Let's not make the mistake of making them into planks like I did with the first bunch, because you just turn the wood straight into the stick. And we're going to make a red wand of the forest with a green leaf. It's got to have a green leaf, doesn't it? Now I already have 9 endo flames for some reason. I'm not quite sure where I've got them from, but that'll be enough to get us started. I've got the endo flames down. I think if we just throw some charcoal on it, they should start to accept it. I think they have. Nope. So I just tested it over here with my buddies, and his accepted the coal block, but mine is not. So I'm thinking these things are inactive unless already binded to a mana spreader. I was hoping to get the mana going in them before that, but let's go make the mana spreader, see if that fixes it. Which is super easy. It's just the resources we already had. Now I'm remembering back some time, and I think it's right click on the mana spreader, right click on the mana pool. That should link the beam to it. No, maybe it's shift and right click. And then shift right click. Yes. Now you can see that the beam is coming right to it, which means it's shooting mana into there. So now all I think I need to do is link up each endo flame to the mana spreader. And then I think all I need to do is throw on a little bit of coal. I've already tested this and it worked. So come on, work on camera. Boom. Done. And now we should have mana in our mana pool. The endo flames are easy enough to craft. I just need one resource, and that's mana powder, which I get from throwing gunpowder in here. You can actually just drop the entire stack in, and as long as I've got enough mana, it'll transition the whole entire stack, which it just did. Thank you, game. So back here near the little tent, I've built this little like shrine area. I might put some candles on either side. I think that'll look pretty cool. But these are the apothecaries, where you can just simply throw in all your petal leaves, and then you can craft up all of the things from Britannia that you want to using these, and I've got them, you know, right by the tree. So it's just a case of adding in the mana powder and the seeds, and then we get our endo flame. There we have it, all 4 in place. With us now producing mana, we are one step closer to finally being able to get that shimmering rock. But the next step is the portal to Alfheim, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I think I'm going to sort of put it in this temple here like it was originally part of the temple. But I'm going to need a little bit more living wood and quite a bit of living rock to do this. So I expanded on our pure daisies. We've now got 8 of them, a stack at a time. I'm going to need some living wood and some shimmering living wood. So I only need 3 of these. And we put them in a formation like that, I think, with an elven gateway core right here, which requires terra steel. How does one go about terra steel? Before I go down that rabbit hole, my buddy does have Britannia, so I'm wondering if perhaps he has a shop that sells it. I couldn't find a shop, so I just thought I'd check his valuables chest, and he doesn't have any terra steel here, so I don't think he's produced it. I wasn't going to take it from there, don't worry, I'm not that kind of player. But I did just want to see if he had it before I started running around trying to find it, and it doesn't exist, so I'm glad I did. So to make terra steel, I need an amalgamation plate thing. I seem to vaguely remember this, so I think I know what I'm doing. But I just want to kind of get this looking a little bit better, because right now it's just stuck here in the middle of nowhere, and why is it off-centered? Because I just added these. So I've added in a bit of an entrance to the temple, because remember the lore, this was a temple. It's not anymore, it's a sludge factory, but in the lore it was a temple. So we've got this here. I need to put down a runic altar, which I've crafted up right here, which I'm going to put over there. And we also need the amalgamation plate, which is going to go over in this side. But I also crafted up the mana tablet to be able to take mana. So this thing does not despawn. And I'm also playing around with the coal and the timings to make sure I get it right. Still haven't got it quite right. So if I've understood this, I should be able to either just throw this in there. Nope. Okay. Then it's shift and right click to change. And then I can throw this in there and the mana starts coming out of the tablet and into this pool and then into here. So now I can start using the runic plate. Sorry, the runic altar. Yes, I got it right. No, I didn't, but still, never mind. Moving on. Okay, let's see if I've understood this. We should right click to add these. I need to add 4 of these and 1 of these. Or is it 5 of these? It's 5 of these to make that. Great. Now I should be able to just right click that. And it's doing, you can see that it's slowly counting round on the rune itself. So I just need to do this for the rune of water, earth, mana, air, and fire. It's a little bit more complicated than that. I need to throw a living rock on top and then bam, 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 bam. Done. Okay, let's get this all done. Now that we've got all of the runes, we've got the terra steel amalgamation plate. All we gotta do is put it down here. Now I can make terra steel. I just need more mana. So I'm at the point where I want to create the terra steel, but the mana spreaders just can't put enough magic into this altar to make it for me. So I'm going to try something called sparks, which are these things. And apparently if I just place them over the portals, they should automatically link up. And now what I can do is I can take the mana stuff, I can put it on here, and we should see that process. Oh yeah, look, it's working. It's working. Oh, this is... I tried this with the mana spreaders in a clip you'll never see, and nothing really happened other than these lights starting to shade blue. But it looks like we're going to get terra steel! Oh yeah! Finally! Got it! Winner, winner! Terra steel dinner! That doesn't sound very tasty. Now I have to go back in my memory and find out why I was making the terra steel in the first place. Needed it for the gateway core. Boom! Got it. The last thing that I need are these nature pylons, and to get those we need 2 of these. I should have everything I need for these. Cool. And 1, 2. Great. So I've got everything that I need pretty much for the portal. The only thing I'm missing is enough mana to actually ignite it and open it. But I don't have any of these. I need to put some in these. But my mana supplies are incredibly low at the minute, so I'm currently generating it. Now, while I generate it, I'm not going to sit here and twiddle my thumbs. I'm actually going to do some building. I'm going to start terraforming this area. I've done a thing! Let me show you. This is the area that I've come up with. We've got a guy, his name's Urban, and he's camping out here. He is actually the caretaker. Caretaker? Really? A caretaker? No, he is a caretaker for this tree. And he doesn't want to talk to us. He's running away. But I want this world to be very realistic, and so Urban has a tragic story. You see, he wasn't alone out here. He used to live out here with his son. But unfortunately, his son, well, he passed away yesterday. And, well, that's what Urban will tell you anyway. You can see here, my son used to help me with the daily tasks of caring for this place. If I can just get tomorrow, I'll be fine. But the story is actually a bit darker and a bit deeper than that. Because if you come over here, you can see where he started to dig the grave. But he never finished it. The coffin is still here and it's all overgrown. So even though it only happened yesterday, according to Urban, we know by just the amount of overgrowth here and the fact that this has not been completed, that he just hasn't managed to say goodbye yet. And it's been a lot longer than just yesterday. He's a little bit delusional, this guy. But he is a decent guy, you know. I stand guard over this mystical portal. I do ponder who will keep the grounds when I leave this world. That tree once thrummed with power. Then my people started hacking and chopping. Now it's hardly a sapling anymore. Referring to this, which is what I'm trying to get at, because it's supposed to look like a grand sapling. You know, it's got a lot of branches. It's a tree. It was once a grand tree, but it's been chopped down and its power has been diminished over the years. So we've got that. We've also got this here, and I tried something new here. I thought, well, this was originally made out of wood, but the wood sort of rotted away over the years, and so he's threw a tarp over it to try and keep the rain off of his firewood. And that's why we've got this little bit of thing here, and I actually like it. I think this really looks cool. I might play around with more things like this on roofs, more veins of stuff. I didn't know what to do over here. I did think about a couple of trees, but it's already quite noisy with trees over here. We've got this one and we've got this one. I don't really want any more trees over here. So I haven't come up with an idea of what I want to do with this space. So I thought I'd just fill it with some weeds and some grass for now. Get rid of that. And maybe something will come to me while I continue working on it. But anyway, it's time for the portal. So what I think I do is just right click this. And yeah, that works cool. It's going to draw from these mana pools. And as long as it's got mana, it will activate and work. So I should be able to like throw a couple of diamonds in here and get a couple of those out. Great. What else do we need? I need this pixie dust and these mana steel. So if I just throw like a couple of those in, get a few of those in, throw a couple of those in, I should have everything I need to make the Bifrost wand, which is what I'm after. Let's go make it. And just like that, we have the Bifrost wand, which means we can start to make these Bifrost blocks, which require this elf glass, which requires mana glass. Glass in the pool, mana glass into the portal. Oh yeah. Rain down on me glass. It's raining glass. Hallelujah, it's raining glass. Actually, if it rains glass, it's probably not a good time to sing about it, is it? That sounds very painful. And I'm hoping this doesn't destroy the rod. I don't think it will. No, it doesn't. Great. Brilliant. I've finally got my glass. Look at it. Look at it. Oh, man. I've wanted to do this for so many years with this, and I've just never got to it. And now I have and I'm seeing it. That is amazing. That looks brilliant. I love it. I love it. I'm so happy. Now I need to do the wood and the stone. Okay, so in the means of doing all of that, I had to walk the dog. And why is that important? Why is walking the dog so important? Well, because I always call my buddy, the other guy who plays on this server, and we had a chat about the lore, and I filled him in on the lore of the kingdom that I've been building. And he said to me, well, if that guy is going insane, if Urban, I forgot his name for a moment then, if Urban isn't quite there after the death of his son, what about if he had like a caretaker himself? What about if someone from my kingdom was also out there? And well, that got me to scratching my head, and I'm like, you know what, that would be a really good idea. Now this is Geldar, and while my brother might not be the builder that I am, when it comes to the lore and developing the characters, he's got a lot more characters running around, a lot more NPCs, with a lot more backstory than what we've got. Trust me, he's focused a lot of time on that. And the story of his kingdom is basically these are all mages, and they came through a portal here about 300 years ago in world time. We're actually going to develop a timeline at some point, get some proper lore going. But his people are a peace-loving people. They're allied with us, but more than that, they love and cherish nature. In fact, there's a bit of tension between our kingdoms because we are polluting the swamp with our sludge factory. So he was like, well, if this is a magical tree and it was decimated by the families that lived here, then it would need protecting. My people wouldn't stand by and be like, oh no, I'm not going to protect it. So that kind of gave the story as to why his character, one of his characters, is going to be over here. So I asked my buddy, I said, buddy, if I were to build you a house over there, somewhere to stay, I can't build a house because it's not in the city. what would you like? And he said, well, my people like nature, something nature related. So I thought treehouse. Treehouse would be great, but I didn't want to build another big tree like this. So I did this. This is supposed to symbolize a root coming up from underground, arching over and going back down. And he has turned this into his little house. Now, obviously, I've decorated this. We decorate our own things in our kingdoms. We don't build in each other's territory. But obviously, I kind of wanted him to live here, so he will be responsible for putting the character here and giving the character all of the dialogue. Now, he's not with me, and we don't have this on an actual online server. We run it over a local area network because it's 1.7.10, and yeah, it's not very good on servers. I've tried. So he's with me for a few days, in a couple of days. So hopefully that'll be there in a future episode. But yeah, I've done this. But now to this! Look at how that changes. Look how magical and mystical that is. I can't believe it. I'm so excited. And I'm more excited because I've wanted to use this block for literally years. In real life, years I've wanted to use this block. And I finally got my hands on it. And I am not dissatisfied. I love it. It feels so enchanting and enthralling. I love it. So why was I a million miles from home when I started recording? Well, it's very simple. My buddy likes these silverwood trees, and they are really, really nice. They are really, really good. And I do quite like the way they look. He's got them sort of all over his land. But the problem is I don't actually have any. I could have sworn he had one up here. Maybe not. The problem is I don't actually have any of these. I don't have any. Not a single one, oddly enough. So I went out and I chopped some trees down, because I want to put a custom tree over here. I'm going to put it right next to this tent, right in front of these apothecaries, and I'm going to try to keep it somewhat small, okay? I do not want one like this. I do not want it arching over there, but I do definitely want some sort of custom tree. Now, I'm not going to use the same leaves that they use on the silverwood trees because I feel it blends too much with these. I kind of want to contrast it. So I've gone with these great wood leaves. I was going to use them on this, if you remember, but then I changed my mind. And I am thinking of having some smaller branches sort of peeling off here with some different shaded purple leaves. But one thing at a time. You know how I said I was going to do one custom tree? Well, time kind of got away from me, and I've just realized I'm being shot in the foot by that magical beam. But I've done a lot of work. Couple of simple things like changing out the mana spreader for an elven mana spreader, and also having in the shimmering rock mana pool. I think looks really, really cool. But let's walk through here and you can see what else I've done. First of all, we've got a couple of sheep here. I figured it's going to get cold in the winter. These guys are going to need a way to keep warm. So it would make sense for them to keep a couple of sheep. I might actually put like some food in there for them so it actually looks like they're being fed and they're not there for slaughter. Then over here I've added in a little garden. This is tomatoes and carrots. I think they look really good together. And he's got his own little campfire with a chair. This chair does not suit the aesthetics over here. I think I would like a stool or something smaller. But at the same time, the Goldarians use these chairs quite a lot, so it would make sense that he would have one out here. Then over here, you can't fail to notice the little wagon that's up on stilts. And this is a shop. We've got Barbosa. And I'm a procurer of mystical items. I do enjoy my evening games with that Goldarian chap. Urban is a old friend of mine. Heartbreaking to see him in this state. But yeah, he basically is a shopkeeper for this area. You can see he's got a few things here. We've got these. Each one individually is 250 emeralds. And it is expensive. And that's because my buddy produces these and sells these routinely as part of his trade. So I didn't want to encroach on that. I didn't want to take his trade away from him. So I put them at a stupidly high price. And I'm selling them individually, whereas he's selling them by the stack. Then over here, we've got the elven infused materials. You get 2 for 60 emeralds. And then this is going to be some of the shimmering stuff, but I haven't got around to stocking that yet. I'm running out of mana. And over here, we're going to have some of the armor, the weapons, and the terra steel. But yeah, nice little wagon there with a couple of horses to add atmosphere. Oh yeah, we got a dog, Jethro. This belongs to Urban. And there's going to be another dog for my buddy's guy who, when he puts them over here, I've just got to breed up the dogs that I've got. I'm waiting on the breeding cooldown. So we've already seen the shrine. We got a nice little signpost here. Blueberry Fields, City, Geldar. I'm going to do this a little bit better, this sign with stuff when I know what I'm actually going to call my city. Then we've got a bit of lore about the tree. And then we've got the blueberry fields over here where you can just go and pick blueberries. I kind of like the way this came out. Looks really, really nice. Got a couple of random apothecaries over here, look, where you can just use them if you will. Botanical gardens. We've got Botania here. It makes sense to have these botanical gardens. And I even added in a pure daisy over here with a rim so we can transmute our stuff here, because the setup over there is only temporary. But I don't want anything automated over here. I just want something very, very simple. And I've lined the extra edges of the pathway with essence bushes. These will grow up and look like this when they're done, and it's just this like glow that we're getting here. I think will look really, really cool, and I'm super excited and happy for that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything that I've done over here. It looks really good, and it's got a lot more atmosphere and character to it now, rather than just a big empty space like it was when we began. Starting today, I had one goal. I wanted to fill this empty space and add in a bunch of lore for our world. It brought enchanted mana portals, a tragic tale of a father and son, new friends in the roots of the Ezra Tree, a traveling merchant, blueberry field. We took a blank canvas and we transformed it into something that looks absolutely amazing. So with the Ezra Tree in the background and our lore firmly cemented, it is time to bring the episode to a close. Guys, if you've enjoyed this video, please do leave it a like, hit subscribe, consider checking out my other channels, those are all links down below. And as always, I'm Casey, you're the awesome folk. Thank you so much for watching now. Take care. Bye.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, play the game that we say. I need a break.